What's good, people? It's about that time to randomly relate reverse rants, no hate. I was sitting down. It's not the first time I thought about this, you know, and I was just looking at two guys who were explosive and looked like they were going to pretty much turn out to be more successful than they ended up being, in boxing, and that's Adrien Broner and Zab Judah. They're very similar in a lot of ways. Now, Adrien Broner, I think he has like 34 wins, something like that, and like 4 losses, 1 draw. Zab Judah, I think, has 40 wins, 10 losses, or something like that. One of the things that they definitely have in common, Zab Judah was putting the beating on guys. Slick southpaw. Zab Judah was that guy. I was rooting for him, no matter who he fought, all with the exception of Floyd. In fact, when he fought Floyd, it was like I was kind of, I didn't know who to really go for. After Floyd beat him like he did, it was like, hey, man, and he just came off a loss to Carlos Baldomir. And, Zab was a guy that a lot of people like Zab. I've never been one to make excuses. I like Zab as a fighter. I like Adrien Broner as a fighter. Doesn't matter if I like you as a fighter or not. I'm going to always be honest. If I had to bet on Zab Judah or Adrien Broner in certain fights, I know there's fights that I would definitely bet against them in. So for me to sit up and cheerlead and act like, well, I don't cheerlead for nobody, but you know what I'm saying, for me to go on like make excuses and act as if, the odds were against them, when no. Certain situations happen, you hear about it. There's 2 sides to a story. You never know what the exact story is, but at the end of the day, when Zab Judah lost to Costa Zoo, he was never the same after that. He lost the fight to Corey Spinks. He won the rematch. That was considered his biggest win up to that point. And Lucas Matisse, most people pretty much feel like that was his biggest win overall, was Matisse. Matisse was a good fighter, and Matisse wasn't the best fighter. Adrien Broner, but he was a good fighter. Adrien Broner, same thing. He was putting the beating on guys. Once he lost to Marcos Maidana, he was never the same. And what they have in common is when they stepped up to fight the very elite guys, they lost. With Adrien Broner, he lost to Maidana. He lost to Sean Porter. Lost to Mikey Garcia. Who else? Manny Pacquiao. So he showed, and the thing is, he looked bad in every fight. Every one of those fights, he looked bad. He had one good moment against Sean Porter when he dropped him, I think the 11th or the 12th, and that was pretty much it. Other than that, he didn't do anything. Anything. The same way how we look at Anthony Joshua against Usyk, like, man, he just didn't go in there and show anything. Same damn thing. And you're talking about 3 guys mentioning Joshua that whoever they fight, I'm going with them. But I'm not going to sit here and make excuses. And the same thing with Zab Judah. He lost to Carlos Baldomir. Okay, he lost to Floyd. He lost to Danny Garcia. He lost to Miguel Cotto. He lost to what's the guy? The guy that fought Pacquiao. All he did was Pacquiao. All he did was sit there and had his hands glued to the side of his head. I think he's African or something. I forget. But you look at the losses that he's had, and it's like, man, he showed you, I cannot compete with the elite fighters. I can be the C-class fighter or maybe a B- guy, but I can't hang with the A-class fighters. And, listen, you're only as good as you are. People can imagine what you used to do. What somebody was versus what they become can be 2 different things. But nonetheless, they, 3-time champion. I think Zab was a 4-time champion, 4 or 5-time champion, whatever. But at the end of the day, they accomplished, they listen, you can't take credit for what they accomplished. But, it is a such thing as levels. And they always showed that they're not A-level fighters. But I salute them both. Never fall in love with lies. Remember, the truth brings hate out of people. And I will catch y'all on the next video.